It seems around here every town is a sports town. And why not? Sports were important to us growing up, and we want the same for our kids. To get involved, to compete, because that's how kids learn to lead. And why Farmers Union Insurance supports these programs. They know sports aren't just about building skill and strength, but about building character. Farmers Union Insurance. They don't just protect our community, they invest in it.
I'm Tegan Mason.
I'm Carson Hamill.
I'm Andrew Odden.
On behalf of Mason Ox Ranch.
From everyone here at Odden Charlet.
And on behalf of the Scattered Star Ranch.
From our family to yours.
From the Phillip community, I just want to say thank you.
We thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to thank you, the consumers.
We thank you for choosing beef.
Thank you for choosing beef.
It seems around here every town is a sports town. And why not? Sports were important to us growing up, and we want the same for our kids. To get involved, to compete, because that's how kids learn to lead. And why Farmers Union Insurance supports these programs. They know sports aren't just about building skill and strength, but about building character. Farmers Union Insurance. They don't just protect our community, they invest in it.
I'm Tegan Mason.
I'm Carson Hamill.
I'm Andrew Odden.
On behalf of Mason Ox Ranch.
From everyone here at Odden Charlet.
And on behalf of the Scattered Star Ranch.
From our family to yours.
From the Phillip community, I just want to say thank you.
We thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to thank you, the consumers.
We thank you for choosing beef.
Thank you for choosing beef.
It seems around here every town is a sports town. And why not? Sports were important to us growing up, and we want the same for our kids. To get involved, to compete, because that's how kids learn to lead. And why Farmers Union Insurance supports these programs. They know sports aren't just about building skill and strength, but about building character. Farmers Union Insurance. They don't just protect our community, they invest in it.
January is a great time to take a look at a brand new Buick from Dave Hahler Automotive in Webster.
The Galley Hotel-Bar-Grill is on Highway 12 in Webster. Comfortable non-smoking rooms and their steakhouse and bar are open 7 days a week with the grill opening daily at 5 p.m. Daily specials and popular Wings Wednesdays with over 14 sauces with traditional bone-in or boneless wings. Thursdays feature Chislick special night and their slow-cooked prime rib is served on Friday and Saturday nights. Check them out on Facebook or call 605-345-9989 for reservations.
Partnering with champions. RDO does that. Whether it's on the farm, the football field, or in the backyard, RDO prides itself on partnering with champions. For over 100 years, John Deere has been a champion of building the finest compact tractors available. Let RDO Equipment Company be your compact tractor sales and service champion. Plus, with 0% financing available, there's never been a better time to purchase your next compact tractor. Don't miss your chance to discover the RDO Equipment Company difference for yourself. Visit RDOequipment.com to find a dealer near you.
At A&W, it's called the original Bacon Double Cheeseburger because we invented it. You're welcome, world. 100% U.S. beef, crispy hickory smoked bacon, invented and perfected here. Not to mention, it's just better with made fresh A&W root beer. At participating restaurants, prices may vary. Tax extra.
Winning isn't everything. It's how you play the game that counts. If your values tell you the same, let's start a new conversation about money. At Thrivent Financial, we believe money is a tool, not a goal. Because it's not just about making more, it's about doing more for your family, church, and community. Call Webster Thrivent Financial today at 605-345-3635.
Even simple tasks of everyday life can be overwhelming after an illness or injury. When you're facing physical challenges, physical therapy services at Sanford Health can provide the extra support you need. Our integrated team will help you regain your mobility and strength, getting you back to daily activities as safely as possible. We will focus on your recovery so you can get back to feeling more like you. To make an appointment at Sanford Health in Webster, call 605-588-3186.
Life's an adventure filled with excitement, challenges, and achievement. Farmers Union Insurance can provide you the safety net to keep you moving toward your goals and enjoying life's rewards. With multiple locations across the state, Farmers Union Insurance agents provide quick quotes and professional services you deserve. Since 1948, Farmers Union Insurance has focused on insuring the people of South Dakota. From the most remote quarter section to the busiest intersection, Farmers Union Insurance, insuring a brighter tomorrow.
January is a great time to take a look at a brand new Buick from Dave Hahler Automotive in Webster. We've got 0% interest for up to 72 months on the 2019 Buick Enclave, Buick Envision, and the Buick Encore. We got a great selection of these vehicles, so come take a look. Also, if you have a GM card, check your statement for extra earnings this month. Dave Hahler Automotive, East Highway 12 in Webster, on the web, HahlerAuto.com.
The Galley Hotel-Bar-Grill is on Highway 12 in Webster. Comfortable, non-smoking rooms and their steakhouse and bar are open 7 days a week with the grill opening daily at 5 p.m. Daily specials and popular Wings Wednesdays with over 14 sauces with traditional bone-in or boneless wings. Thursdays feature Chislick special night and their slow-cooked prime rib is served on Friday and Saturday nights. Check them out on Facebook or call 605-345-9989 for reservations.
Partnering with champions. RDO does that. Whether it's on the farm, the football field, or in the backyard, RDO prides itself on partnering with champions. For over 100 years, John Deere has been a champion of building the finest compact tractors available. Let RDO Equipment Company be your compact tractor sales and service champion. Plus, with 0% financing available, there's never been a better time to purchase your next compact tractor. Don't miss your chance to discover the RDO Equipment Company difference for yourself. Visit RDOequipment.com to find a dealer near you.
At A&W, it's called the original Bacon Double Cheeseburger because we invented it. You're welcome, world. 100% U.S. beef, crispy hickory smoked bacon, invented and perfected here. Not to mention, it's just better with made fresh A&W root beer. At participating restaurants, prices may vary. Tax extra.
Winning isn't everything. It's how you play the game that counts. If your values tell you the same, let's start a new conversation about money. At Thrivent Financial, we believe money is a tool, not a goal. Because it's not just about making more, it's about doing more for your family, church, and community. Call Webster Thrivent Financial today at 605-345-3635.
Even simple tasks of everyday life can be overwhelming after an illness or injury. When you're facing physical challenges, physical therapy services at Sanford Health can provide the extra support you need. Our integrated team will help you regain your mobility and strength, getting you back to daily activities as safely as possible. We will focus on your recovery so you can get back to feeling more like you. To make an appointment at Sanford Health in Webster, call 605-588-3186.
Life's an adventure filled with excitement, challenges, and achievement. Farmers Union Insurance can provide you the safety net to keep you moving toward your goals and enjoying life's rewards. With multiple locations across the state, Farmers Union Insurance agents provide quick quotes and professional services you deserve. Since 1948, Farmers Union Insurance has focused on insuring the people of South Dakota. From the most remote quarter section to the busiest intersection, Farmers Union Insurance, insuring a brighter tomorrow.
January is a great time to take a look at a brand new Buick from Dave Hahler Automotive in Webster. We've got 0% interest for up to 72 months on the 2019 Buick Enclave, Buick Envision, and the Buick Encore. We got a great selection of these vehicles, so come take a look. Also, if you have a GM card, check your statement for extra earnings this month. Dave Hahler Automotive, East Highway 12 in Webster, on the web, HahlerAuto.com.
The Galley Hotel-Bar-Grill is on Highway 12 in Webster. Comfortable, non-smoking rooms and their steakhouse and bar are open 7 days a week with the grill opening daily at 5 p.m. Daily specials and popular Wings Wednesdays with over 14 sauces with traditional bone-in or boneless wings. Thursdays feature Chislic special night and their slow-cooked prime rib is served on Friday and Saturday nights. Check them out on Facebook or call 605-345-9989 for reservations.
Partnering with champions. RDO does that. Whether it's on the farm, the football field, or in the backyard, RDO prides itself on partnering with champions. For over 100 years, John Deere has been a champion of building the finest compact tractors available. Let RDO Equipment Company be your compact tractor sales and service champion. Plus, with 0% financing available, there's never been a better time to purchase your next compact tractor. Don't miss your chance to discover the RDO Equipment Company difference for yourself. Visit RDOequipment.com to find a dealer near you.
At A&W, it's called the original Bacon Double Cheeseburger because we invented it. You're welcome, world. 100% U.S. beef, crispy hickory smoked bacon, invented and perfected here. Not to mention, it's just better with made fresh A&W root beer. At participating restaurants, prices may vary. Tax extra.
Winning isn't everything. It's how you play the game that counts. If your values tell you the same, let's start a new conversation about money. At Thrivent Financial, we believe money is a tool, not a goal. Because it's not just about making more, it's about doing more. For your family, church, and community. Call Webster Thrivent Financial today at 605-345-3635.
Even simple tasks of everyday life can be overwhelming after an illness or injury. When you're facing physical challenges, physical therapy services at Sanford Health can provide the extra support you need. Our integrated team will help you regain your mobility and strength, getting you back to daily activities as safely as possible. We will focus on your recovery so you can get back to feeling more like you. To make an appointment at Sanford Health in Webster, call 605-588-3186.
Life's an adventure filled with excitement, challenges, and achievement. Farmers Union Insurance can provide you the safety net to keep you moving toward your goals and enjoying life's rewards. With multiple locations across the state, Farmers Union Insurance agents provide quick quotes and professional services you deserve. Since 1948, Farmers Union Insurance has focused on insuring the people of South Dakota. From the most remote quarter section to the busiest intersection, Farmers Union Insurance, insuring a brighter tomorrow.
January is a great time to take a look at a brand new Buick from Dave Hahler Automotive in Webster. We've got 0% interest for up to 72 months on the 2019 Buick Enclave, Buick Envision, and the Buick Encore. We got a great selection of these vehicles, so come take a look. Also, if you have a GM card, check your statement for extra earnings this month. Dave Hahler Automotive, East Highway 12 in Webster, on the web, HahlerAuto.com.
The Galley Hotel-Bar-Grill is on Highway 12 in Webster. Comfortable, non-smoking rooms and their steakhouse and bar are open 7 days a week with the grill opening daily at 5 p.m. Daily specials and popular Wings Wednesdays with over 14 sauces with traditional bone-in or boneless wings. Thursdays feature Chislic special night and their slow-cooked prime rib is served on Friday and Saturday nights. Check them out on Facebook or call 605-345-9989 for reservations.
Partnering with champions. RDO does that. Whether it's on the farm, the football field, or in the backyard, RDO prides itself on partnering with champions. For over 100 years, John Deere has been a champion of building the finest compact tractors available. Let RDO Equipment Company be your compact tractor sales and service champion. Plus, with 0% financing available, there's never been a better time to purchase your next compact tractor. Don't miss your chance to discover the RDO Equipment Company difference for yourself. Visit RDOequipment.com to find a dealer near you.
At A&W, it's called the original Bacon Double Cheeseburger because we invented it. You're welcome, world. 100% U.S. beef, crispy hickory smoked bacon, invented and perfected here. Not to mention, it's just better with made fresh A&W root beer. At participating restaurants, prices may vary. Tax extra.
Winning isn't everything. It's how you play the game that counts. If your values tell you the same, let's start a new conversation about money. At Thrivent Financial, we believe money is a tool, not a goal. Because it's not just about making more, it's about doing more. For your family, church, and community. Call Webster Thrivent Financial today at 605-345-3635.
Even simple tasks of everyday life can be overwhelming after an illness or injury. When you're facing physical challenges, physical therapy services at Sanford Health can provide the extra support you need. Our integrated team will help you regain your mobility and strength, getting you back to daily activities as safely as possible. We will focus on your recovery so you can get back to feeling more like you. To make an appointment at Sanford Health in Webster, call 605-588-3186.
Life's an adventure filled with excitement, challenges, and achievement. Farmers Union Insurance can provide you the safety net to keep you moving toward your goals and enjoying life's rewards. With multiple locations across the state, Farmers Union Insurance agents provide quick quotes and professional services you deserve. Since 1948, Farmers Union Insurance has focused on insuring the people of South Dakota. From the most remote quarter section to the busiest intersection, Farmers Union Insurance, insuring a brighter tomorrow.
January is a great time to take a look at a brand new Buick from Dave Hahler Automotive in Webster. We've got 0% interest for up to 72 months on the 2019 Buick Enclave, Buick Envision, and the Buick Encore. We got a great selection of these vehicles, so come take a look. Also, if you have a GM card, check your statement for extra earnings this month. Dave Hahler Automotive, East Highway 12 in Webster, on the web, HahlerAuto.com.
The Galley Hotel-Bar-Grill is on Highway 12 in Webster. Comfortable non-smoking rooms and their steakhouse and bar are open 7 days a week with the grill opening daily at 5 p.m. Daily specials and popular Wings Wednesdays with over 14 sauces with traditional bone-in or boneless wings. Thursdays feature Chislick special night and their slow-cooked prime rib is served on Friday and Saturday nights. Check them out on Facebook or call 605-345-9989 for reservations.
Partnering with champions. RDO does that. Whether it's on the farm, the football field, or in the backyard, RDO prides itself on partnering with champions. For over 100 years, John Deere has been a champion of building the finest compact tractors available. Let RDO Equipment Company be your compact tractor sales and service champion. Plus, with 0% financing available, there's never been a better time to purchase your next compact tractor. Don't miss your chance to discover the RDO Equipment Company difference for yourself. Visit RDOequipment.com to find a dealer near you.
At A&W, it's called the original Bacon Double Cheeseburger because we invented it. You're welcome, world. 100% U.S. beef, crispy hickory smoked bacon, invented and perfected here. Not to mention, it's just better with made fresh A&W root beer. At participating restaurants, prices may vary. Tax extra.
Winning isn't everything. It's how you play the game that counts. If your values tell you the same, let's start a new conversation about money. At Thrivent Financial, we believe money is a tool, not a goal. Because it's not just about making more, it's about doing more. For your family, church, and community. Call Webster Thrivent Financial today at 605 888-345-3635.
Even simple tasks of everyday life can be overwhelming after an illness or injury. When you're facing physical challenges, physical therapy services at Sanford Health can provide the extra support you need. Our integrated team will help you regain your mobility and strength, getting you back to daily activities as safely as possible. We will focus on your recovery so you can get back to feeling more like you. To make an appointment at Sanford Health in Webster, call 605-588-3186.
Life's an adventure filled with excitement, challenges, and achievement. Farmers Union Insurance can provide you the safety net to keep you moving toward your goals and enjoying life's rewards. With multiple locations across the state, Farmers Union Insurance agents provide quick quotes and professional services you deserve. Since 1948, Farmers Union Insurance has focused on insuring the people of South Dakota. From the most remote quarter section to the busiest intersection, Farmers Union Insurance, insuring a brighter tomorrow.
January is a great time to take a look at a brand new Buick from Dave Hahler Automotive in Webster. We've got 0% interest for up to 72 months on the 2019 Buick Enclave, Buick Envision, and the Buick Encore. We got a great selection of these vehicles, so come take a look. Also, if you have a GM card, check your statement for extra earnings this month. Dave Hahler Automotive, East Highway 12 in Webster, on the web, HahlerAuto.com.
The Galley Hotel-Bar-Grill is on Highway 12 in Webster. Comfortable, non-smoking rooms and their steakhouse and bar are open 7 days a week with the grill opening daily at 5 p.m. Daily specials and popular Wings Wednesdays with over 14 sauces with traditional bone-in or boneless wings. Thursdays feature Chislick special night and their slow-cooked prime rib is served on Friday and Saturday nights. Check them out on Facebook or call 605-345-9989 for reservations.
Partnering with champions. RDO does that. Whether it's on the farm, the football field, or in the backyard, RDO prides itself on partnering with champions. For over 100 years, John Deere has been a champion of building the finest compact tractors available. Let RDO Equipment Company be your compact tractor sales and service champion. Plus, with 0% financing available, there's never been a better time to purchase your next compact tractor. Don't miss your chance to discover the RDO Equipment Company difference for yourself. Visit RDOequipment.com to find a dealer near you.
At A&W, it's called the original Bacon Double Cheeseburger because we invented it. You're welcome, world. 100% U.S. beef, crispy hickory smoked bacon, invented and perfected here. Not to mention, it's just better with made fresh A&W root beer. At participating restaurants, prices may vary. Tax extra.
Winning isn't everything. It's how you play the game that counts. If your values tell you the same, let's start a new conversation about money. At Thrivent Financial, we believe money is a tool, not a goal. Because it's not just about making more, it's about doing more. For your family, church, and community. Call Webster Thrivent Financial today at 605-345-3635.
Even simple tasks of everyday life can be overwhelming after an illness or injury. When you're facing physical challenges, physical therapy services at Sanford Health can provide the extra support you need. Our integrated team will help you regain your mobility and strength, getting you back to daily activities as safely as possible. We will focus on your recovery so you can get back to feeling more like you. To make an appointment at Sanford Health in Webster, call 605-588-3186.
Life's an adventure filled with excitement, challenges, and achievement. Farmers Union Insurance can provide you the safety net to keep you moving toward your goals and enjoying life's rewards. With multiple locations across the state, Farmers Union Insurance agents provide quick quotes and professional services you deserve. Since 1948, Farmers Union Insurance has focused on insuring the people of South Dakota. From the most remote quarter section to the busiest intersection, Farmers Union Insurance, insuring a brighter tomorrow.
January is a great time to take a look at a brand new Buick from Dave Hahler Automotive in Webster. We've got 0% interest for up to 72 months on the 2019 Buick Enclave, Buick Envision, and the Buick Encore. We got a great selection of these vehicles, so come take a look. Also, if you have a GM card, check your statement for extra earnings this month. Dave Hahler Automotive, East Highway 12 in Webster, on the web, HahlerAuto.com.
The Galley Hotel-Bar-Grill is on Highway 12 in Webster. Comfortable, non-smoking rooms and their steakhouse and bar are open 7 days a week with the grill opening daily at 5 p.m. Daily specials and popular Wings Wednesdays with over 14 sauces with traditional bone-in or boneless wings. Thursdays feature Chislick special night and their slow-cooked prime rib is served on Friday and Saturday nights. Check them out on Facebook or call 605-345-9989 for reservations.
Partnering with champions. RDO does that. Whether it's on the farm, the football field, or in the backyard, RDO prides itself on partnering with champions. For over 100 years, John Deere has been a champion of building the finest compact tractors available. Let RDO Equipment Company be your compact tractor sales and service champion. Plus, with 0% financing available, there's never been a better time to purchase your next compact tractor. Don't miss your chance to discover the RDO Equipment Company difference for yourself. Visit RDOequipment.com to find a dealer near you.
At A&W, it's called the original Bacon Double Cheeseburger because we invented it. You're welcome, world. 100% U.S. beef, crispy hickory smoked bacon, invented and perfected here. Not to mention, it's just better with made fresh A&W root beer. At participating restaurants, prices may vary. Tax extra.
Winning isn't everything. It's how you play the game that counts. If your values tell you the same, let's start a new conversation about money. At Thrivent Financial, we believe money is a tool, not a goal. Because it's not just about making more, it's about doing more. For your family, church, and community. Call Webster Thrivent Financial today at 605-345-3635.
It seems around here every town is a sports town. And why not? Sports were important to us growing up, and we want the same for our kids. To get involved, to compete, because that's how kids learn to lead. And why Farmers Union Insurance supports these programs. They know sports aren't just about building skill and strength, but about building character. Farmers Union Insurance. They don't just protect our community, they invest in it.
I'm Tegan Mason.
I'm Carson Hamill.
I'm Andrew Odden.
On behalf of Mason Ox Ranch,
From everyone here at Odden Charlet,
And on behalf of the Scattered Star Ranch,
From our family to yours,
From the Phillip community, I just want to say thank you.
we thank you.
thank you.
I would like to thank you, the consumers.
We thank you for choosing beef.
thank you for choosing beef.
It seems around here every town is a sports town. And why not? Sports were important to us growing up, and we want the same for our kids. To get involved, to compete, because that's how kids learn to lead. And why Farmers Union Insurance supports these programs. They know sports aren't just about building skill and strength, but about building character. Farmers Union Insurance. They don't just protect our community, they invest in it.
I'm Tegan Mason.
I'm Carson Hamill.
I'm Andrew Odden.
On behalf of Mason Ox Ranch,
From everyone here at Odden Charlet,
and on behalf of the Scattered Star Ranch,
From our family to yours,
From the Phillip community, I just want to say thank you.
we thank you.
thank you.
I would like to thank you, the consumers.
We thank you for choosing beef.
thank you for choosing beef.
It seems around here every town is a sports town. And why not? Sports were important to us growing up, and we want the same for our kids. To get involved, to compete, because that's how kids learn to lead. and why Farmers Union Insurance supports these programs. They know sports aren't just about building skill and strength, but about building character. Farmers Union Insurance. They don't just protect our community, they invest in it.
I'm Tegan Mason.
I'm Carson Hamill.
I'm Andrew Odden.
On behalf of Mason Knox Ranch,
From everyone here at Odden Charlet,
And on behalf of the Scattered Star Ranch,
From our family to yours,
From the Phillip community, I just want to say thank you. We thank you.
thank you.
I would like to thank you, the consumers.
We thank you for choosing beef.
thank you for choosing beef.
It seems around here every town is a sports town, and why not? Sports were important to us growing up, and we want the same for our kids. To get involved, to compete, because that's how kids learn to lead. And why Farmers Union Insurance supports these programs. They know sports aren't just about building skill and strength, but about building character. Farmers Union Insurance. They don't just protect our community, they invest in it.
I'm Tegan Mason.
I'm Carson Hamill.
I'm Andrew Odden.
On behalf of Mason Knox Ranch,
From everyone here at Odden Charlet,
and on behalf of the Scattered Star Ranch,
From our family to yours,
From the Phillip community, I just want to say thank you. We thank you.
thank you.
I would like to thank you, the consumers.
We thank you for choosing beef.
thank you for choosing beef.
It seems around here every town is a sports town, and why not? Sports were important to us growing up, and we want the same for our kids. To get involved, to compete, because that's how kids learn to lead. And why Farmers Union Insurance supports these programs. They know sports aren't just about building skill and strength, but about building character. Farmers Union Insurance. They don't just protect our community, they invest in it.
I'm Tegan Mason.
I'm Carson Hamill.
I'm Andrew Odden.
On behalf of Mason Knox Ranch,
From everyone here at Odden Charlet,
and on behalf of the Scattered Star Ranch,
From our family to yours,
From the Phillip community, I just want to say thank you. We thank you.
thank you.
I would like to thank you, the consumers.
We thank you for choosing beef.
thank you for choosing beef.
It seems around here every town is a sports town, and why not? Sports were important to us growing up, and we want the same for our kids. To get involved, to compete, because that's how kids learn to lead. And why Farmers Union Insurance supports these programs. They know sports aren't just about building skill and strength, but about building character. Farmers Union Insurance. They don't just protect our community, they invest in it.
I'm Tegan Mason.
I'm Carson Hamill.
I'm Andrew Odden.
On behalf of Mason Knox Ranch,
From everyone here at Odden Charlet,
and on behalf of the Scattered Star Ranch,
From our family to yours,
From the Phillip community, I just want to say thank you. We thank you.
thank you.
I would like to thank you, the consumers.
We thank you for choosing beef.
thank you for choosing beef.
It seems around here every town is a sports town, and why not? Sports were important to us growing up, and we want the same for our kids. To get involved, to compete, Because that's how kids learn to lead. And why Farmers Union Insurance supports these programs. They know sports aren't just about building skill and strength, but about building character. Farmers Union Insurance. They don't just protect our community, they invest in it.
I'm Tegan Mason.
I'm Carson Hamill.
I'm Andrew Odden.
On behalf of Mason Ox Ranch,
From everyone here at Odden Charlet,
And on behalf of the Scattered Star Ranch,
From our family to yours,
From the Phillip community, I just want to say thank you.
We thank you.
thank you.
I would like to thank you, the consumers.
We thank you for choosing beef.
thank you for choosing beef.
It seems around here every town is a sports town, and why not?
Jim, I should call. We're live. Larry on the phone now?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have the number?
Yeah, just hit an elementary one, is that okay?
Yeah, and you want the
Larry. Tom Sanis, I've got you on speakerphone as loud as we can get it here. We just got back from touring the boiler room and the CTE wing, and we're ready to get things going if that's okay with you.
do it.
All right. Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So move.
Thank you, Joel. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Marty. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public communications, we have none tonight. Conflicts disclosure. None?
No.
Motion to approve the minutes of our regular meeting of October 12th.
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Gaikowski. Second, Mr. Luenga. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the financial statements as presented.
So move.
Thank you, Joel. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Gaikowski. Discussion?
I would just like to insert here, I think this happened after the last board meeting, but when we had first applied for the free meals, they were good through December 31st or until federal funds ran out. That has now been extended. We have amended our application. We are approved, and parents would have gotten the message. We are approved through the end of the school year. So it'll be free breakfast and lunches for all students.
My iPad's in the middle of an update here, so I can't pull up the revenue expenditure, but I did have a question, Lori. There was a $21,000 revenue for the sale of surplus. What was that?
Airport.
Airport, okay.
Airport land, yes.
Okay.
And in that summary report, the coronavirus relief funds, that's how much we've gotten total so far?
What is that?
The
Where are you?
Coronavirus relief funds?
Yeah, is it 200 and some thousand? Yes, and then we're gonna get a small portion. We had to verify our student fall enrollment count. So our total, when we're done, we should get about 252,000 total.
Any further questions, comments? Thank you for the work on behalf of the students and their parents. That is a big deal to have free lunches for every member of the district. If you look at what we normally have to bring in on income, just from what those parents are pretty much paying us, that is a significant stimulus back to the Webster area school district patrons. And thank you, Jim, Lori, Craig, and anybody else in the administration that made that happen. All right, any further discussion on the financial statements? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second. Thank you, Mr. Gatkowski. Discussion?
Just, I guess to clarify, in the capital outlay, it looked like we had some pretty good expenses, the house of glass, the door projects, those were all budgeted, right?
The water heater was not,
Okay,
because that, but, yes, everything else is budgeted.
okay. And it looked like we spent about $3,100 this month on the boiler.
That is correct. Should we see if I can get Larry back? We lost him here real quick. There it is.
Were you pushing buttons?
No, I didn't touch it.
Joel, can I just talk to you about that?
Yep.
The inspection, that's something that has to be done, but the boiler repairs, that is what we've been dealing with for over a year, you know, to try to get it inspected, or pass inspection previously, and then we were fighting with Midwest Boiler to get them here, so we
Yep.
finally got that done.
But I consider that to be part of the boiler issues.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, I just wanted to clarify what that was.
Yep.
Larry,
Yeah.
I don't know if you were watching TV, but Marty came over and hung up on you. I mean, just saying. We lost you there.
Well, I'm back.
Okay, good. I'll try to keep Marty away from the phone.
All right.
All right, so we were just getting done speaking on the claims. Joel had mentioned about the boiler repair, or excuse me, boiler repair and inspection. Any other comments about the claims? Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, action items. Motion to approve temporary salaries. Do I need to go through these? They can be one motion, Lori?
Yeah, I will list them individually in the minutes.
Okay. Motion to approve the temporary salaries. They're Tammy Block, Craig Case, Christy Christensen, Jessica Doty, Amy Knudsen, Ruth Katsaya, Samantha Kicker, Chelsea Larson, Amber Lesner, Cheryl McCreary, Adam Mines, Lori O'Farrell, Jenna Center, Zach Tobin, Fred Zick.
So moved.
Thank you, Larry. Second, Joel. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve volunteer coaches for wrestling, Spencer Roush, Justin McClurg, Carter Shoemaker, and Tristan Bent. Thank you, Mr. Gatkowski. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Lewinga. Discussion?
The only thing probably you need to mention is,
Larry had a question. Are these the same ones we had last year?
Yes,
Lori says yes.
and contingent upon background checks, which they've all completed.
okay, that was the question I was gonna have. If we had them last year as a volunteer, do they have to get the background check every year, or? And just so folks know, we don't pay, the district doesn't pay for all of those background checks. The programs typically will do that.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to approve the supplemental budget number 3-11-20.
So moved.
Thanks, Joel. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Lewinga. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to amend the calendar.
So moved.
Thank you, Joel. Second? Mr. Gatkowski, discussion? Jim, can you fill us in again on this part again?
Yeah, the only reason I wanted to bring this up is, in our calendar, we have snow days that are already built in. And then we also had the federal holidays that we put in as kind of a change to our calendar last year. It was the first year we did that. There are statements that say if we have a snow day, say prior to Native American Day, then we use that Native American Day as a makeup day. Same thing with President's Day, things like that. The reason I'm bringing this up is because we chose as a district to go to school on Friday, October 23rd, instead of have in-service. And so that was a school day. Then we had a snow day the day before. So technically, I don't know if we made up anything, but with a snow day on Thursday, October 22nd, what should happen with that, according to our calendar, is we would make that up, and of course I didn't bring the calendar, but I think we would make that up in January when there's a federal holiday.
Martin Luther King Day?
Yes, I believe that's what it would be if we followed the calendar. Now, with us changing the the Friday the 23rd to a school day, technically you could count that as that makeup day, and we wouldn't have to make up a day, and then we just have to make sure that everything is still equal or the same when it comes to teacher contract days. So I might be mentioning something that's just far too confusing to even worry about, but it's just something that, in order for us to say we wanted to count the 23rd as a makeup day, we have to amend the calendar because it doesn't state that.
No, I think that's two separate issues. I think a snow day is different than the 23rd. I'm gonna call that a COVID day. We were trying to bank COVID days.
I agree.
I think you leave it as is.
So then we will leave it, and then we will make up school on January 18th, Martin Luther King Day.
I agree.
That's how I see it.
That's the way I see it, Jim. How about you, Mr. Grakowski? Marty?
That's fine.
Marty says fine. Aaron says fine. Larry?
Leave it in the book.
Leave it in the book, says Larry.
Okay.
I think it's good to get these days knocked out this year as much as possible.
Yep.
So we'll put out a message then as soon as possible so people can start making plans.
Martin Luther King Day will be a makeup day for Thursday, October 22nd.
That is what we are now voting on. All in favor say aye.
Well, technically you don't have to.
It's
We don't
already
need to
set.
amend the calendar because that's the way it's.
We're not amending.
Oh,
So you
correct.
can
It's not
let
even an
this
action item.
fail
Yeah,
or do
that's
whatever
fine.
you want.
Yeah, correct. Just leave it as is. We don't need to do anything. We're just approving that as the calendar was. Correct. Okay. Superintendent's report.
The first thing that I have is, I just want to read this to you. We mentioned it at our last board meeting that, because I think you guys finished it just before the last board meeting, I was going to say the wall, but the fence in the parking lot across the street here. This is from Caleb Sanis. Dear Webster Area School Board, I would like to thank you all for helping me complete my Eagle Scout project. Thank you to your support. Thanks to your support, I was able to get the fence built last weekend. Without the financial assistance the school provided, this project would have never been possible. Thank you again, Caleb Sanders. So, and then I do have a picture of it. I don't know if you've seen it, but I'll pass that around so you can see this picture.
How many feet of fence is that?
A lot.
Half a block?
I don't know, yeah, at least.
It
wasn't
runs
good
from
for
the
me.
street side to the alley.
A day's worth? Or
Yeah.
more? So you're gonna whitewash it too, or?
No. That was what I was hoping you were looking at, Marty. Future kids.
So congratulations to Caleb with that accomplishment. Those are big projects, and it takes a lot of people to get those things done. The other activity, or the other thing that I have on here is fall activities. We have completed volleyball and football and cross country. The reason I have those on there is because some people ask, what's going on with the winter activities and COVID. The High School Activities Association has put out information. I think it's public knowledge, so you can view it on the High School Activities Association website. Mr. Mines and I have had conversation. I know that Mr. Mines has met with the coaches regarding what their expectations are to deal with COVID in the different sports. In the fall sports, or excuse me, the winter sports are girls basketball, boys basketball, and wrestling. And it's everything from I'll use wrestling as probably one of the examples more. I know with tournaments, they've talked about limiting it to, I want to say 10 teams, 12 teams, 10 athletes. And so that's kind of the number that you have. If you're going to maximize your tournament with that number of participants, then their recommendation from the High School Activities Association is to severely limit your crowd, because you're putting a lot of people in one facility. So that's an example. Basketball officials will give the ball to the people taking the ball out of bounds, and they should be 6 feet away. There are just some guidelines. I'm just giving you just a few things. So they will be going through those. The coaches will be with the students so that they know what they need to do to make sure that they're following the COVID guidelines.
But so right now, the intent is to have all winter sports?
Yes, at this point it is.
Yep.
I was just curious with the referees, are they going to a hand whistle then?
Yeah, actually,
I saw that at the junior high game.
I mentioned to Mr. Mines today that I would be willing to do some junior high and JV level games as an official, and I didn't even think about the whistle. And he says, well, you're going to have to learn how to use one of these, and he had one of the electric whistles, and I said, those aren't loud enough, are they? And he did test it today in the office. She was in her office, I was in his, and it is, they are pretty loud. I believe at the junior high game they utilize them every day. So there are just a lot of little things that.
I didn't think they were as loud as a regular whistle. My wife thought they were pretty loud, but
Yeah,
she
they're
hears
pretty,
better than I do.
It's got a real high pitched.
They have newer ones, and there's different settings on the newer ones too.
Oh.
The old ones, like it wouldn't even stop a volleyball game, the old ones. The new ones are better.
And so I don't know if we want to do anything different with our, we've got COVID down on our, well, I have COVID as one of my last topics, but perhaps we need to discuss, crowd limitations and things like that. Either keep things the way we did them with volleyball and football, or consider changing it. So, our Veterans Day program, we will have a Veterans Day program via video on Wednesday, and thank you to Bearcats TV. They are going to broadcast it for us at 9:30 on Wednesday. We asked each of the programs, the 5th grade poem readers, the kindergarten, the high school choir, the high school band, the seniors who write their Americanism essays, the student council is going to do the pledge. All of the things that we normally have in our Veterans Day program, with the exception of an outside guest speaker. We've had all of that videotaped, and then Mrs. Poole's multimedia class has put together the video. It's certainly not going to be as long as the program down at the Army, because we only have the band come down or the choir come down. There's that time in between each of the segments that won't be a part of the video. So I hope it is something that's meaningful for our veterans. We felt we still needed to do something and honor them that day. And it also is still, I think, a great opportunity for our students to participate in something like that. I hope it is well taken, and let the veterans know that we are doing it because we appreciate them, and we believe that the Veterans Program is a valuable program, regardless of what we're dealing with. So,
hopefully Bearcats TV can get it out there on social media and start spreading the word so that people know to watch it. That's the first I'd heard of it.
Yep. And I can, I can send a message out via the school. The only thing is the Bearcat media might be able to do it. We have our stuff with our school webpage, but really when we send stuff out, it's basically to our district patrons in the sense of parents.
Let's get it out there so people
get it out.
Wasn't it on the?
It was in the
front
newspaper.
page of the paper,
Amanda had
wasn't it?
contacted me. I thought she did a nice job of putting together that as well. So there are some people that would have read that over the weekend as well.
I agree. That was a nice job. Thanks to the reporter and farmer on the front page of the paper, and definitely nice write-up. Thanks.
So, and then I have here, this really isn't anything huge, but I thought it was something worth noting. The speech classes. Mrs. Wegleitner actually had sent me some photos with her speech class. She does have some students that have been quarantined and some students that have to be home for certain things. And using the Promethean boards, she's able to project that student giving a speech at home on the Promethean board. You can do it live, or they can record it and play it. And I just thought that was a neat way to integrate the technology into what we're doing. And so she's actually having the students do their demonstration speeches. All of the students, even the ones that are here, can record them at home, and then they're going to broadcast them via the Promethean board that way. It gives them an opportunity to do more than one take, perhaps, and get the recording to be more of a fine-tuned speech. So I just think it's just a neat way to use technology and address the issues that we're dealing with, and it's working out pretty good. So the next item that I have is the COVID-19 update, rapid testing. This, I don't know how long of a conversation this could be. I will tell you that we have had additional cases, mostly with staff members. We had a staff member that tested positive last week. We had a staff member test positive today. Luckily, their close contacts really were only over the weekends prior to them testing positive. And so we didn't have, there were a few students that were involved with the close contact, but not many. And so that part is good. We have quite a few students that came back today from our last student positive case. And so some of them came back today. The rest of them will come back tomorrow. And right now we do not have any student cases, positive cases at the moment. We do have, I think, a little more than 10 students that are out due to close contact associated with family members that have tested positive. That's actually what we're seeing more often than we are with our own particular cases in the building. And I'm going to be honest, Mr. Case and I, we met yesterday on Sunday just for me to review my substitute issues and him to review his substitute issues. And we're okay right now, but we have had some challenges on a few days here and there where it's been challenging to find some substitutes. We even have in some cases where substitutes for, our substitutes have actually had to step away because they've been close contact. So they're here for a teacher that's out, and then they're a close contact, so we're finding a substitute for a substitute in a couple of cases.
With these students that are coming back, are they testing and then coming back early, or are they the whole 2-week quarantine?
You know, I can give you some specifics. We had 23 or 24 students with our last positive case that were close contacts. And it was associated with a few activities and classrooms. Of those students, and I'm going off my memory, I think 3 or 4 came back early, and they only came back as early as last Thursday. And some of their final days were today, and the others are tomorrow. So we didn't see an overwhelming number of students get tested and come back early.
Do they wear the masks if they come back early?
They are supposed to, and we're trying to get that message out to the teachers, and that is a challenge. I'm not saying it can only be an honesty system, because if I know a student's supposed to be wearing a mask and they're not, I'm definitely going to say something, and I believe every teacher will. It's just all of the teachers trying to keep track of all of the different students. If it's not one of their own students that they have in their classroom, they may not, little Johnny might not be wearing his mask in the hallway, and a teacher may pass him, but if she doesn't have him in class, she may not realize that he's supposed to be wearing it, even though we kind of. And I have to say, I honestly need to inform them better and more often, but that's a challenge to keep up with. I'm not going to lie, because we have to know each one that comes back, which one comes back early, and I've got that documented in a spreadsheet, but it doesn't always. My communication isn't always as soon as I'd like it to be.
Are kids just in general in school, or are they wearing more masks or not?
I really think our high school is about what it's been most of the time. There are some that wear them all the time in the high school, and then there's some that, don't worry about wearing a mask, not going to do it.
Yeah, and I think our elementary is doing a wonderful job, and I think in the middle school we've had a few more fall off a little bit, but for the most part, they're doing a pretty good job of wearing the mask in the middle school also.
I think that a couple things we should take note of for the general public is, I've actually had a lot of phone calls as to how to test to get back in. Because I've had experience. I mean, my son Gavin is he's completed now 4 quarantines. You know, you think about that, that's just bad luck at a volleyball game, bad luck at robotics, bad luck your dad gets it, and bad luck that grandpa gets it at one. I mean, just, you know, he's had 4 of them. So I had a lot of calls actually from parents that have tried, because we have gotten tests to get them back in. So I've had numerous parents call me to find out, you know, hey, where can you get tests? And I think part of the reason, Aaron, that some of the kids aren't coming back, you can't get a test. I mean, you just cannot get a test somewhere. It is very difficult to get a test. So when we get to our tests, I think that is something we have to look at. Number 2, I think it's important that the patrons understand the South Dakota High School Activities Association, and as every year I've been on the school board, one of the things I've had people talk to me more about than anything is sports. Well, the South Dakota High School Activities Association has said that they will honor school district policies as to athletics. And so
that was a change in course from their original position.
Correct. Originally, they were like, no way, no how, 14 days, you're out, period. Well, they did change it, and I don't remember when the policy got changed exactly, but they do now recognize what the school district has. So, really, to be quite frank, if you are playing boys basketball, girls basketball, wrestling, track, any of our activities that are coming up, and you want to participate, you need to be wearing a mask. Because if you wear a mask in our school, as our policy is set, that is not a close contact. You know, if you're masked up. That's why we're trying to encourage people to wear masks. Now, while we may not be wearing the masks in here, this is a different setting. If you want to be in school, you want to participate, wear the mask. Numerous parents that I had speak to me about this issue, they're like, oh, if only my son blank would have worn a mask. I think he gets it now, or my daughter, because I do think it affects the teams. And we're going to have to talk about that when we get to the rapid testing. But the bottom line is wearing a mask can pay off if you're in athletics. That is a big change, and the patrons need to know that if your kid wants to play girls basketball this year and you're looking forward to seeing them out on the court, you miss 2 weeks of school, that could be, boy, in the thick of it, 5 games. I mean, there's sometimes you have Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and then a following Friday, Saturday game for those girls or boys. You know, wear the mask. Jim, should we keep going and hit these nurse questions right out of the chute?
Yeah, the next item to talk about is maybe discussing the rapid testing. I can tell you that we do have tests that were provided by the state.
We just received them last Wednesday?
We received them last Wednesday. And I will be honest, I made a decision to kind of put that on delay because I wasn't sure how we were going to do it, where we were going to do it, didn't know a lot of the details, and a good portion of the schools just said, yeah, let's slow down, let's just figure this out before we get all these tests. And so we did get our tests last week. We have been using them. We don't have any policies or procedures in place, but we believe we've done, the correct things with using these, with the exception of what their intent is for. And Heather Gaikowski has provided some of her concerns as a nurse. For me as an administrator, my biggest concern is I don't want us to become a community clinic. That is not our position. We are not, that's not our business. And so that was my first hesitation is, holy cow, we could be testing a lot of people that are sending their kids to school. Well, you know what, they've got tests, we'll send you and see if it turns out to be positive. Plus you end up possibly getting a lot of students coming to school that shouldn't be, but they know if we have tests here, well, we'll find out and send them home. So I'm real hesitant in that area to do a tremendous amount of testing. Really, I believe the purpose for them is if somebody comes, and this is what's listed in the information, is if somebody comes down with symptoms in school, you test them and you send them home. We have done 5 tests so far. All 5 have been negative. One of those was with a person that actually had lost their sense of smell. Now, I'm here to tell you that I have not yet known anybody who's lost their sense of taste or smell that didn't eventually test positive. And so that makes me question these tests. And because that's kind of a telltale symptom. Not always, but 99% of the time. So.
Larry, what was that?
Are rapid tests about 50% accurate?
I've heard all kinds of numbers, and they've ranged from 30% are false to a 50-50, but I don't know the statistics.
Well, these are the antigen tests.
Yeah.
So they're mainly, they will test positive if you already have symptoms.
Right.
So if you're just going off are we gonna test kids coming off quarantine?
Well, so let's just make the conversation so it can stay organized. In speaking with Jim, at first he expressed the hesitancy, and I understand completely. We're not a hospital. We're not a clinic. We're a school. We have one school nurse. If she goes home for 2 weeks, that makes it awfully difficult on our administration. And we need to keep her healthy, going 100 miles an hour as long as we can. At the same time, those tests, I do believe, can have value because, as we have just discussed, you can't get a test. It is very difficult, and I think people that have been out there that have tried to get a test without symptoms but were a close contact, if you call up and try to get it, you don't get it. So in speaking with Jim, possibly an idea just to make it a policy here or simple. Number one, my primary concern, or the school board's primary concern, is keeping the place up and running. We can't do that without our administration and our staff. If we have 120 tests, I believe these tests, because we don't know if they get replaced, how quickly, we need to work on making sure we ensure our critical infrastructure employees. Those tests should be prioritized for our staff. That's number one. If we've got to if Lori or Jim or Craig, one of our third grade teachers, if they can't get a test but they feel that they need to be tested for some reason or another, we have a test at least available here for them. Staff should be number one. I would throw that out there. Number two, then we start getting into the students. And the very first question on here that we received from the school nurse, sending sick kids to school knowing, in all caps, they're sick since we have testing. Don't do that. If your kids are sick, don't come to school. That is clear. That is not even an issue. If your kids are sick, they need to stay at home. We're not the hospital. We're not the clinic. That is not our location to be testing. If your kids are sick, they need to get a test at Sanford, Webster, Waubay, Aberdeen, Watertown. They do not come to school. Because then again, that is putting our school nurse in a difficult position. That was her number one question on here, and I think as a board, we're clear on that, correct?
Yes. What you say makes sense, Tom, but it's not happening. People are sending their kids to school sick. And what really scares me here is if we open up this Pandora's box and we're going to start testing kids,
we don't want
that encourages that. So as we're sitting here talking, I'm thinking, do we put in some sort of a stipulation that after your child has been home for 2 or 3 days, could we test them, so that they don't come to school sick?
I actually think it should be, agree with you, there needs to be stipulations. These tests aren't meant for the kids that are sick. If you get tested and you're sick, you're out for your 14 days, period. If you get the COVID quarantine, you're going to have to sit out your 14 days. If you're at home and have symptoms, again, we're not the place to get the test. They need to go to the clinic, the hospital, their medical provider, get the test. These tests, in my opinion, should be A, staff, number one. B, for the students then that maybe are...
The student is here all day long, and then by homeroom, they're just like, Jesus, I think I've got a fever or something. We can test them before we send them home. It's if people have an onset during the day. But
Even then, Jim, I'd respectfully say if somebody has an onset during the day, send them home. No different than, we were all kids and all the parents were out there. If you got the fever back in the day, if you were throwing up in class, they called your mom and dad and somebody came and picked you up. And again, we're not a hospital or a clinic. I think the test should be more of, Joel, so we don't become a testing center. Save them for the student, Aaron was a close contact, and he wants to come back after day 7. And he can't find a test. Well, then let's use that test on Aaron. Now, I know that it may not be the most accurate because he's not showing symptoms, but if it's also day 7 under our provisions and he's coming back, wearing the mask anyway, we're going on the science saying he doesn't have the symptoms, as you went over that night, Marty, with all the different scientific studies. I think that's a good spot for the test. The other thing is I think it's a fair statement that pretty much the community knows we lost one of our decent volleyball players on the night of districts. Win or go home. Now, I'm not saying that these tests should be used for athletes for a regular season game, game 3, game 4, game 5. But if you had a test, a young woman or a young boy that wants to play in districts for basketball, or wrestler that is trying to go to regions and state, and they have 0 symptoms, and right now he can't get a test, then let them at least use one of our tests at the day 7 to get them back into school, and then use the South Dakota High School Activities Association. I think we should limit our tests. We only have 120. If we have 500 students, we have 35 teachers. How many staff? With
60 total.
60, so we have 560. We have basically a test for 1 in every 5 people, 20%. So realistically, we don't have that much anyway. If we go with 60 staff and administration, that's only 2 tests per individual throughout the year. I really think these tests should be limited because we're not a testing study. We're not the hospital. We're not the clinic. Does that make sense?
I agree with everything you said. One thing that I may have overlooked is, we were talking about this and it really hit me tonight, is our school nurse. We have to protect her.
Absolutely.
There are a ton of students that depend on her. Is there a substitute school nurse?
We have some maybes.
I mean, that'll come in for 2 weeks.
It's been hard to find. Heather's our main go-to.
Probably not if they're gonna know they're gonna end up being tested for COVID.
Exactly, right.
That's a great point.
The maybe would turn to no.
Where would we do the testing?
Well, and that's the other thing. These testing, I've been tested nicely here in Webster. It's in my truck. They come out and find you. You line up and you wait. People should not be coming in the school to do the testing.
That's what's been happening. She's been going out to the people.
Yep.
Can we realistically expect her to do that all winter long?
The other thing is, Aaron, it's not going to be like just drop in, I'm going to do this all day. I think if you're going to do a test for somebody, it has to be scheduled. No different than right now, Sanford Clinic, they say 3 o'clock, they start lining the cars up there. I mean, you can go drive by there. I think that's what it was for the longest time, was 3 o'clock. But you can see the line of vehicles just wrapped around their parking lot, and they've got the one door, I think it has a 3 on it in duct tape, so that people know to come to that door on the southwest corner of the clinic. And they line up and everybody waits there and out they come and they do all the tests. And it's just one time. It shouldn't be throughout the day, drop everything. If you want to test, fine, set up, and you're coming back on that day 7, you can set it up to be in Monday morning at 8 o'clock, Tuesday morning, whatever time she sets up.
Maybe it needs to be non-school hours.
Maybe.
And can we use one of the garages over there, one of them empty enough for, in the inclement weather, a car could pull in the garage?
What do you mean non-school hours? So Heather would have to be here before school or after school?
No, I'm saying from 3:30 to 4:30, or,
The non-school day, like.
Yeah, she's usually gone at 3:30.
She's hourly, correct?
She's hourly and she
She's
shows
8 to
up
3:30.
shortly after 8, yeah. She's here by 8 and gone by 3:30, so.
Yeah, it's going to be very taxing on her. I mean, do we want to have couple other people trained just in case. But yeah, I have concerns
She and
just
I
like
did
you, Aaron,
this-
it's gonna be a lot for her.
She and I discussed the expectations, because she thought, well, now am I gonna have to come in on a Saturday so somebody can play basketball Saturday night? And I said, absolutely not. No, I don't want that. I don't think that's the case. And then as for scheduling, you know, she says, well, just anybody can drop in like you were saying. I said, absolutely not. And I said, we have to see what's reasonable within your schedule so that you can continue to do your normal job, taking care of the numerous kids that have diabetes, the things that she has to take care of down in the center base, just her normal stuff. And if that says that she's only got 45 minutes per day, it's that she can do, I don't even want to get 3 tests done in 45 minutes, because you have to administer the test, wait 15 minutes, do the reading, and you don't want to be doing multiple tests at any given time. So there's not a lot of time for her to be able to do this. And my take as her administrator would be, you allow so many that you can handle within your schedule, and that's all you can handle in one day. Then whoever calls next says, yep, I've got an appointment on Tuesday or on Wednesday or what. You don't get to choose what you want to do out of the,
Agreed.
Schedules are schedules at the clinic.
Well, you gotta remember, gentlemen, we only have 120 tests. We're not the hospital. We're not the clinic. There's nothing wrong with us telling our school nurse, when somebody calls up, okay, you want a test? Why do you need a test? Well, because I don't feel good. Then that's an absolute no for students. That's not what these tests are meant for.
But if they get sick during school,
we send them home.
Don't test them.
I don't think we should, I don't think that we're gonna become the testing site, because that'll just take the flu comes in here.
We'd run out of tests in short
We'll run out
order.
of tests in 2 or 3 weeks. Again,
I don't want to interrupt, but we've got to be careful here. I think you're right when you say staff, and we're talking 60 people. Now, if we're going to start testing students, sending them home, this or that, or if they're coming in and the accuracy rate's low, I don't think we want to touch the students with these tests.
that's what I'm saying, Larry. We're not testing 6 students. We shouldn't be.
These should be set aside for the staff that in some dire circumstances use them. But to take the liability of taking the liability of testing a student and saying they're negative or positive, I don't like that. With the rapid testing.
I agree with Larry. I don't think we should be testing people that are looking sick. I think it should be saved with the staff. If students are using them, it's the exception. You know, I think that there is some merit. We got a lot of kids. I'm on quarantine number 4. You know, there's other kids that I know are on quarantine number 2 and 3. And how many weeks are we into the school year? 10?
10 or 11.
11. I think that some of these students, if Aaron Gaikowski's mom calls up and says, hey, Aaron's on day 7, no symptoms, would like to get him tested so he can come back to school next week, can he come in? I do think the test has use there.
But it's not accurate though if they're not showing symptoms.
And if we do that, like these last, what was there, 23 you said on the last time? There goes 23 of your tests right off the bat.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true. But again, we
And
want kids
trying
in
to
the
do
classroom.
23 tests is going to be a couple days worth of work. Maybe not that much, but
If they choose
What kind of PPE does Heather have?
we have a limited supply, and we can get more, and that's another part of this particular test. For those of you that have had the test, they go quite deep into your nostrils, as I understand it. And Heather would have to put on PPE with the shield, the mask, complete head-to-toe PPE in order to do the tests if she administered it. So that's another thing that we can do, is we can have the older students administer, or adults can administer, where they do the swab of their nostril themselves. And that's also partly why these tests are not as accurate. The Q-tips are not meant to be the type that touch your brain or whatever that. And so these tests are not as accurate from the get-go because they're not getting as
So does she
deep of a
have-
sample.
Do we have that whole garb for
We
her?
do have that, but she has, so far with all of the tests that she's done, they've been self-administered tests where she can do it across the room. She did do a couple in the nurse's station, but we've now done some outside, and if we have to do them inside, we've got kind of a hallway area outside the elementary gym that we were thinking as a possible location. But we haven't finalized any of that because we're just not sure how big this is gonna get for testing. So right now, she doesn't put on the full head-to-toe PPE because she's
Well, and once she uses it, she has to dispose of it,
Yep.
right?
Yes, yeah. So, and I don't know how the PPE works in, like, your drive-up, does a person wear the same PPE the whole time that they do 17 tests or 27 tests or all day long?
Mine's the same walking straight from car to car, I think.
Really?
So,
Did they just send us the test? Is that, I mean, or,
yeah. This was something that I don't know if the Department of Ed decided it. Well, somebody at the state
Governor
level,
Noem announced
the
it.
governor would have announced
She
it.
said
or-
we're
so if you didn't want it, you just,
You had to opt out. I put ours on delay because I wanted to learn more about it. So we were delayed about a week. But I do know some schools that just said, yeah, we don't even want the tests. And if you opt out officially, then you can state that you want your supplies to be redistributed into the system so that somebody else can get them or some other facility can get them.
Well, would that be an opportunity where we could give them to the hospital and then anybody that, on like our staff, or rather than having Heather do them, they could go to the hospital and do it?
I don't know if Sanford would take that on because it's not their own supplies, and if there's, if you're a healthcare facility, obviously you want to make sure that you're using quality supplies. I'm not saying they're not quality, but if it's not their own, within their own quality control, they may say, yeah, we're not touching those tests. On top of that, I don't know if they would charge for everybody to go there, or if it would be a discount, or, I don't know.
And I think we gotta remember, nobody in the United States has a foolproof answer for COVID. Everybody is learning on the go. It's a difficult task. Turning the tests back in, I think that takes away a tool in our arsenal. We need to be able to have this so that if Jim Block is questionable, I can get him tested right away. The staff and the administration is an easy answer. The staff and administration, a lot of these drive-up places, like if you go to Hy-Vee in Sioux Falls, you do the test yourself. There's a lot of places like that, and maybe that does affect the accuracy. But again, our policy is if you're sick, we're not the place for it. These tests are for the staff member that might have a question.
Yeah, and I will say that when you talk about the ability to use it, if you tested a staff member on a specific day and they were negative, you do have additional tests, you can try it again the next day or 2 days or 3 days, so it is possible. And there are cases out there where people tested negative and then they came down heavy with it, and it didn't fit into the exact number of days that you normally would expect it to, so.
We could table it if we wanted to ever use them for students or not that want to quarantine, get back in.
Right away, I was of the opinion that we should try to utilize them to get kids back into the building, but I'm going the other way right now. I think that we should use them for staff and administration. We've got another month here, before the whole sports thing fires up again, or, we get into the flu season and really just see how things go. I would rather us not table it. I'd like to see us utilize it for staff and administration and just roll with it like we've been doing. We can make adjustments as we go.
Okay?
I agree with that.
yeah, I agree. Staff, no students, just for the staff.
Yeah.
Okay, Larry?
Yes.
Sounds good. So right now, please remember, if you're sick, stay at home. We have had,
I'm gonna come right out and say it. Is there a point in time when our staff or administration needs to make determinations on sending kids home?
Oh, we already have. We already have.
I'm gonna tell you that I've probably, in my 5 years of being on the school board, I've taken 10 phone calls. My phone's been lighting up the last 2 weeks with parents upset, and I think rightfully so, that everybody's in this together and we're all trying to do the right thing to keep the building open, and then there's people that just...
The example you're probably saying is that there's a parent that tested positive, but the kids are still coming to school.
Yeah.
We're trying to address that the best we can. In some cases, I do believe that it is possible for a parent to be positive and the kids not to be in close contact. But especially when you look at younger children, we really question it. Now, have we forced anybody to go home? I will say that last week I did tell a high school age student that you need to go home, you're not staying here. Even though, and we did use a test, and it was negative. I said, you're going home, you have to.
Well, that's good. I'm encouraged to hear that. And I think there's gonna be a lot of patrons.
And that is a lot of pressure on Heather Gatkowski as a nurse.
Sure it is.
You don't have to
that
wait
part,
for
I
the-
think she's
yeah.
kind of up for that task. She's pretty straightforward. I think if there's something to be said about it, she's probably gonna be honest and say, shouldn't be here. And if she does need our assistance as administrators, I think she would come to us and say.
And it's not easy. I mean, I'll use my personal experience. When I got COVID, Jack was, I'll use names, he was just coming off of close contact #1. He was supposed to go back to school that day. No, you're staying home, buddy. I mean, that's just, it sucks, but that's what we're doing. I mean, you gotta make those tough decisions. It is hard on the kids, but you gotta make the tough decisions.
I knew I had COVID Monday night. I couldn't get tested Tuesday. My kids stayed home. I knew I had it Monday night. You lose taste and smell, that's an obvious sign. My kids were home Tuesday morning. I didn't wait till you got the phone call from the Webster Sanford Clinic on Thursday morning saying, hey, you're positive. You kids can stay home as soon as you have the symptoms. And I know that's difficult for families. But again, we're trying to keep everybody here and keep the doors open. Be smart about it. That's what we're asking our patrons to do. Just use common sense.
Yeah, we don't want it to blow up and then have to close the doors.
Right.
Right. Distance learning is not a goal. It is an objective to be avoided. All right, do we got anything else on COVID after we beat that horse to death?
I'm guessing that there is, but I don't know right now what else there is to discuss.
Well, for me, the two big things, just to kind of cap it off, was, you said it earlier, these kids that want to play sports, wear a mask. It's pretty simple. And parents, if your child has close contact, keep them home.
This is another thing. One of the questions that comes up is, when you participate in sports, there are some athletes that wear a mask all the time during school. The only time they don't wear the mask is when they're eating their lunch. But then they go to sports, and that's, in our last case, that's where the close contact occurred. Well, somebody told me that there's volleyball teams that were wearing masks. I haven't seen that anywhere in South Dakota. I haven't seen it on the news, on TV, or anything.
I've seen 1 or 2 individuals on a team, but never an entire team.
And so then that was a question that was posed to me by some parents. It's like, come on, my kid wears a mask all the time, with the exception of practice. And so I don't know if there's a way to make concessions with that, if that's a smart thing to do or a very poor decision to do that. But that's another issue that we've run into is there are some that do wear masks all the time, with the exception when they're at volleyball or football. I don't know how to how to take care of that issue. But the reality is, as you guys just stated, if you're wearing a mask and you are in close contact and you don't ever have any symptoms, you don't ever have to go home. That's what our policy allows. Whether you have a test, the ability to test, or access to a test, doesn't matter if you're willing to wear a mask.
All right. Jim, we moved on from COVID. Let's hit NESC. Oh, excuse me. Apologize. Mr. Case.
Just give you an update on the outdoor classroom. Mr. Larson's kids did an awesome job. They were out there and poured the floor. We were thankful to get some nice weather back, so we got some pictures of it and put it out on the website. So thank Mr. Larson's class and his kids. They did a wonderful job. So the next thing to the outdoor classroom would be ordering the tables. So I did put a feeler out to the staff, and we're looking at, kind of looks like the consensus is to do some round tables out there, kind of similar to the round tables that we have in the lunchroom. And then we probably have a rectangular table for handicap accessible, so we pull up the wheelchair up to the end of a rectangular table.
Will they be all-weather tables, or will we have to take them in and out?
You know, that's what I'm working on. I'm working on, you know, searching for the best buy.
Those rubber-coated type?
Well, the rubber-coated, but then a lot of those have holes on the top. We want to have a flat surface so they can write. One of the staff members, you know, mentioned a good point to have it darker, you know, so it's not reflecting off of there. And yeah, definitely all-weather tables. And I got a feeler in, or I've been talking to Pheasant Land Industries, so we're working on getting some estimates there. So yeah, if there's anybody else out there that would like to give us some estimates, or please let me know, give me a call.
Estimates or ideas of different types of materials.
You know, we're looking at post-COVID, you know, if we have the round tables, the kids can collaborate, get together and talk a little bit more. Ideally, a round table isn't the best right now because they're close together, but post-COVID, you know, should be pretty good, I would hope. So otherwise, that's almost completed with the outdoor classroom. Talking about Christmas concerts coming up, the plan of attack for that is to kind of do similar to the Veterans Day program, is do a recording and then put that out onto the YouTube channel. So that's what we're thinking right now with the concerts. Also, tomorrow night is the World Classrooms meeting for 7th and 8th grade parents. I've sent out a couple of notices to those parents. The kids have received packets to go home, so that would be a trip, a planned trip that would be for the summer of 2022. So those that are interested, make sure you sign up for the RSVP, and that information was sent out via email and text. So that's all I have.
Any questions for Mr. Case? Thank you. NESC.
The items that I have here, payroll tax relief, they chose as I guess as a district similar to most districts, is just to opt out of that because it's basically just a deferment. And so they chose not to do that. They did two policies that they've been looking at: public participation at board meetings, and then their Title IX sexual harassment policies, which is what we've got on. Is that on ours, Lori?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so I didn't realize that they didn't have a public participation at board meetings, but it really wasn't probably necessary because they typically meet in an evening, and it's 24, well, now I think it's down to 23 districts. You have school board members from all of those districts that come in. It's not really a crowd-oriented type of a board meeting. And so they probably never really had a need for it. But I think with this whole COVID thing and being able to have people call in or Zoom in as staff members or district patrons, they need to kind of address that. And then the Title IX, I will be honest, I used some of their information for our policy proposal as well. The center-based tuition rates have all been updated. And it's basically based on the October 1 enrollments for each of the school district, as well as the number of students that are in the center base. That's how they calculate it each year. So, and then they have a discussion on hiring for the new director, discussed a salary range and a job description. That whole process is going to continue. They'll be advertising, if it's not already advertised, they'll be advertising here shortly in November with review of the applicants in early January and interviews in the second week of January. So that's what I have for that.
Okay, moving on to buildings and grounds.
Basically just have the two items that we were discussing briefly last month to start a discussion. Tonight before the board meeting, we had a walkthrough with the board to look at the boiler room, the boiler itself, and then also look at the career and technical education wing to see what things have happened in there, in that wing over the years, what's been updated, what's not, what's changed, what hasn't, some of the issues that we've dealt with that. So I can tell you that I was able to, Lori and I were able to find the email from Travis Sicknell. Now, this would actually be from March of 2018. One of the things I had mentioned last month is that I know we had some numbers on what these portable boiler units are, and this is what it is a ballpark figure of $400,000. You're looking at about approximately $320,000 for the unit itself to be delivered to Webster, and then he was estimating $80,000 to $90,000 to have it put in place, and then all of the plumbing to hook it up to our pipes that heat the building. So now that's from 2018.
Did that include the removal of the old one?
No. That would be, I think, I have to go on my recollection here, but I think what we were talking about doing is where the 3 garage stalls, you have the double garage and the single garage, where those are located, it's possible to reconfigure that and maybe place a mobile boiler there. And so then the old boiler would still be it still would be an issue you'd have to deal with over time, because that's a huge void. And that's why I mentioned that when we were doing the tour. That's a very large void. If you didn't use that as a boiler room, it's a very big open area that you gotta make sure structurally stays sound, so that it doesn't have the potential to start deteriorating and falling in and caving in and things like that. Or filling up with water either.
Yeah.
And so I don't have a ton of information. What you guys had asked me to do is see what other districts do typically, and most of the districts that I talk to normally have their entire board or a couple of board members that serve on a kind of a steering committee to look at these types of projects. And then what I could get for numbers that we knew about from a few years ago.
Now, as I remember it, wasn't that more of a temporary solution?
Yes, when you talk about these mobile, I don't want to say mobile unit, but these mobile boiler facilities, as I understand, I think you can pick up the whole thing and with a large crane,
right,
obviously. And if it would be something that you could put in place, and if you had to leave it there for a fair amount of time, you could, but it could eventually be placed into a new facility or a new location if you had a better location that you couldn't afford to do right now.
Do they have from what you remember, do they have the longevity as compared to just putting in a new one? The mobile ones, do they hold up?
That's an excellent question, and I can't really quote Travis or anybody that said anything, but I use our elementary boilers as an example. They're 50 years old now, because that was built in 70, 71, 72, and we have 2 boilers down there that, for all practical purposes, are maintenance-free for us as a staff. I'm not saying that they're completely maintenance-free, but my recollection for what we've had to do is either a check valve, or keeps the flow going one direction, doesn't allow it to come back, or circulating pumps. But otherwise, we've got two very efficient boilers down there that pretty much just run on their own. We manage the fluids that are in them, and we really haven't had to do much for checking or keeping track of the fluids and making sure they have whatever the anti-rust products are that you have to have in those systems. And also, when you have systems that are working efficiently and correctly, and you don't have to tie into the system or check into the system, then you get fewer, you get less oxygen and things that can probably deteriorate the system into the lines. So I would bet that something like this is certainly got some pretty good longevity because the technology has changed tremendously in the last 40 years. And certainly far more than that thing downstairs.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know, Jim, I think that 80% of our patrons don't really understand when we say what this boiler is. I think too many people think of a boiler, they see, even the boiler that's in the armory looks like
that's
a brand.
a big one too.
Yeah, but it looks like it's a brand new Cadillac compared to what is in the basement of our school. And I think that if you look at the outside of the Webster School and you see the new addition here done in 2005, you see the middle school done in 1990. 90? Yeah, and just the elementary school, how beautiful it is with the updates done in 2010. They don't realize that we still have brick walls from the elementary school in 90, 80? You know, that they're part of that, we're down there, is this the coal area, or that you're looking up on those old beams, and, John, I think that was that's probably an old chimney that they boxed up. I don't think people have an idea of how big this boiler is, and really what we're lucky that we do have. I mean, let me be clear, it's been a great thing for us, but if you could just see what is in the inner sanctum of our school, it is definitely not equal to the photograph of driving around the school block. There's no question. It's night and day.
And when we look at our facility as a whole, it doesn't make sense to me to be throwing $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, I'm gonna say it, throwing it away at that old boiler downstairs, knowing, well, we're gonna have to spend that'll be $500,000 for a temporary solution, that as soon as we get that in place, then we're gonna be sitting here going, well, what are we gonna do for a permanent solution? And pretty soon we're spending $1 million. That's why we need to look at the big picture and do what's best for the taxpayers.
Yeah, you just look at the ag room, and you look up, and this is where the kids are supposed to learn to weld, and they've got a drop ceiling in there. I'm sure that's not something that we would be designing into any shop out there. I'd be surprised if any of our farmers within this district, A, have that small of a shop, B, that small of a door, and C, that old of a operation. And this is where we want agriculture is still our #1 industry. We need to be training kids to come out to go into the ag industry. We're South Dakota, that's what we are in South Dakota. I think we need to focus our energies into that ag. That's a big deal. And that center base, at the same time, what they've done with George Stewart's old industrial arts room, that's a real plus for our community. And I don't think I grasp how nice that center base really is and what a plus that is for our community. That's something we want to keep. We need to figure out a way to get more of this information out to the general public so that the people that graduated in 1955 can say, yep, those ceiling tiles are the same ceiling tiles that were there when I graduated in 1955 down in what we call the wrestling room. Yep, that's the same clock that was there that they would have used for basketball games before we had the armory in I don't know what year. You think about that clock being up there. I mean, that's 1930s original. We should bring people up to speed as to what we have in that final part.
Yep.
So that boiler heats the high school and the middle school
Yes,
and,
in the vocational.
I have a question now.
Go ahead,
You
Larry.
there?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I don't want to drift away from the boiler issue and all these other issues. That, to me, they're separate issues. We've been dealing with this boiler for a number of years now. Joel said a 500,000 temporary. I beg to differ. It's not a temporary. If we put a boiler in, whether we put it in a container, in a building, that would be part of the future, designed for the future, that type of thing. If that's what we need to address, we need to address the boiler and then move on to the other problem. But we can't skip over the boiler if it's that critical and drift off again.
But Larry, I would respectfully submit, if I'm gonna spend $400,000 to $500,000 on a boiler, it's temporary. If I'm gonna hang it off the roof of my building, it becomes permanent when I fix it to the building. And so I think that's where you and I differ a little bit.
Well, that boiler would be used hopefully 50 years from now, still being used.
It wouldn't last 10 years out in the South Dakota elements, I would respectfully submit.
You would put it in the element.
Well, that's what this quote is.
Cargo containers, that they can drop them in, you can put them inside, and we would maintain that old boiler, I wouldn't remove that. I would use that for backup, because that's one of the crucial things that we're concerned with, is we don't have a backup.
Then why would we spend $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year maintaining it, Larry? If we're not gonna use it just as a backup?
That is a backup, and we should check into those actual dollars on that. I mean, the intent is not to use it, but we're saying we have no backup. We understand that steam heat in that ag room, that's not gonna work. Those steam pipes are not gonna last where the hot water circulating that heat in the high school and middle school, those pipes are gonna last for a long time. But that ag wing with those steam heat isn't gonna last much longer.
have you had issues with pipes leaking in the areas, different areas? Or has it just been down in the boiler?
My understanding is that most of it's been in the boiler room. I don't know what kind of access we do have to the pipes in the vocational wing, other than those two, you know, that one crawl space down in the weight room, the old music room. It does shoot to the north and it shoots to the east and then again to the south. But I don't know how we have access to specific pipes in each of the rooms, other than what comes out of the floor and the wall. I would say this though.
Pipes can be run through conduit just about anywhere.
I would say one thing regarding
A proposal and a design to take care of this project.
For me as a school administrator now for 23 years now, I've never known another school to have a backup boiler. Backup boiler is a redundancy that I think just is not efficient. The only reason that it's been discussed here is because of the condition of our main boiler. And I can use Ipswich as an example. We did purchase a small boiler from them as a backup boiler for part of our building here several years ago, and that was a boiler that they hadn't even had for 10 years. They had built something in addition and put that in, and then they had bigger ideas within their district, and they upgraded the boiler again because of that. So we have to be mindful of what kind of a boiler we're going to be putting in place, so that it is a long-term but can be utilized wherever we hope to have it. If we don't put it where it's going to be permanently, we have to make sure that it can go someplace later on. But as for a backup,
I'm just concerned if we don't budget or do something, it's gonna get put off several years.
Well, gentlemen, obviously it's an issue that we need to keep addressing. Any other comments before we move on? I appreciate you giving the tour, and maybe we can try to find some ways to let people know what we have. I do think that when you see things, it always puts it a little bit more better in perspective. All right, moving on to first reading Title IX sexual harassment policy.
I don't know if you read the whole thing. What is it, 6 pages?
I did.
You know, I have a handful of materials here that I've been reviewing. Some of it is from the Office of Civil Rights website. Some of it is stuff that we've been emailed. And really what it came down to, I have a copy of the Associated School Board's sample policy for this, and I have a copy of the two that I found the most familiar was Northeast NESC's and Aberdeen's. And basically I believe what we have in place that meets the criteria, I've read several times the items that we're supposed to have in there, and even after I drafted this, this sheet here, I kept seeing dating violence, domestic violence, and stalking as part of the definition, and that's not in the policy proposal that I put there, but I just keep seeing that so much that I actually would make the recommendation somewhere along the line in that policy I need to have those actual words, only because I'm seeing it in so much of the material. But basically what we're trying to do here is address the difference between harassment and sexual harassment, as well as taking care of Title IX requirements that are basically came up from what they call their final rule. It's upgrades that they've made to Title IX laws, and we have to be able to deal with either one of those types of harassments within our system, and we're supposed to have somebody on staff trained, and that's probably going to be me. It may have to be Mr. Case as well, if we're gonna have somebody on staff trained to do the investigations. The one thing that I'm finding out though is that if I do the investigation, I can't be the ruling party. And then same thing for him. So I don't know how all that stuff works. What I'm finding out what other districts are doing is they're looking at probably just hiring legal counsel or an investigative company that would actually do the investigations if you had to deal with these types of situations. So. And I wouldn't look to you, Tom, to give us legal advice, but as a lawyer, you might have some questions about what we really want to get into as a district and what we really want to handle as a district. So
Jim, I mean, is it all right if I jump in right away?
Absolutely.
I mean, they're looking through the, I mean, this is a really tough issue. It has to, you know, there's no place for any type of harassment, sexual harassment. You know, we all know that that is a zero defect environment. There is no place within our educational facilities for that type of contact. At the same time, too, we also have to recognize that investigating these is a very difficult situation, made even more difficult when you live in a smaller community. Because the number one thing I was looking at is, so who's going to be our Title IX investigator? You're exactly right, Jim. It's not you because you're the first line of appeal. Well, if you're the investigator, then that puts the next line of appeal right away to the board. And I don't know if we really want to ever have where, you know, you have to bring something to board level on your first level of appeal. I don't think that's a good policy for our community. Number two, you just have to turn on the local news. These are very hot button issues at colleges across the United States. There's been secretaries of education that have had opinions one way and completely the other way, just depending on who happens to be in power at that particular time. Without even getting into the politics, a couple things I also found in here was, A, who do we find to do this? Because if it's just, you know, if it's just Lori, hypothetically, there's a lot of pressure on that investigator from both sides. Number two, where does this policy start and end? If little Bobby and little Johnny have an issue on July 4th, Is that an issue then? The way I read this policy, the answer could be yes. Even though it has nothing to do with the schoolhouse doors, the way this policy is written, I think that you could have an issue. Now, obviously, if it happens, in the boys' locker room, the girls' locker room at a basketball game, then that is clearly within our purview. But I do think we want to confine what we're going to look for, number one. Number two, if we hire that out, those are expensive. Those investigations get to be expensive. And these type of issues sometimes can become multiple in nature, because once the allegation is made, the whole system sets off. And if you have to refer every one of those out of house, you could be spending a significant amount of money if that was the case. Number three, another thing I found in here that just made me a little bit nervous is the appeal issues. The investigator basically makes a decision. That decision under this policy is pretty much 98% judge and jury. The only way you can appeal it is a procedural irregularity. Realistically, under this type of procedure, that's pretty tough because there's not that strict of a procedure. It would be a procedural irregularity is another way of saying technicality. Tough to find technicalities. Number two, new evidence not reasonably available.
What's the likelihood that you're going to gain something new after
Within 10 days.
Yeah.
It has to be within 10 days. Number three, conflict of interest against the Title IX coordinator, investigator, or decision maker. Realistically, those are things that, if Joe is the investigator and it's his son that is alleged, or a friend, most of the time Joe is going to be smart enough to say, I recuse myself from this. So even then, you got to have a backup. If we had Mr. Case and he has 3 or 4 kids in school, that puts Mr. Case in a tough position because it's his kids. It's, Tom Sanis, any one of those people. There's nothing, if you just think the investigator made the wrong decision, you don't get to appeal that. To a certain extent, I don't know if that's really where we want that. I mean, I feel like at some point in time, you shut down that thing, but you don't even, the way this policy is, it would be our investigator decision, done. And those decisions have serious ramifications. Lifelong ramifications. That is an awful lot of pressure, and people make mistakes. Even judges make mistakes, and that's why we have appellate courts. And that's why you have ability to go back and look at it. I do think that we'd want to at least have some way, to have a thorough review of the facts, at least up to the level of school board, if not most definitely the superintendent. So I guess when I read this thing, again, there's no place for sexual harassment, for any type of harassment based upon gender, based upon who people are. That doesn't belong in our community, it doesn't belong in our schools. But we all know that in today's day of social media, it's different than when we were kids. And things that can get taken out of context so quickly. One thing that we actually see in the court system right now is sexting. That is way more common with young kids nowadays. Those cell phones weren't there when any of us in this room were in high school. Nowadays, you see sexting issues pop up all the time in the juvenile justice system. They would most certainly fit in under our reading here. And, that type of ruling against a kid, could really have long-term adverse consequences. Again, I just think that we've got to do this right. This would not be a policy we want to just, because you read policies every day, and it's easy to just gloss over them. This policy will come into effect, no question. It would come to our level at some point in time.
It would get utilized, yeah.
Absolutely, because it gets utilized right now in the court system. And I'm here to tell you that I've been practicing law in Webster, South Dakota for 19 years, and we have seen individuals in the juvenile justice system for issues that would be covered by this.
I have hesitation when you talk about dating violence, domestic violence, and stalking. Those typically are things that occur outside of school, and I don't believe that parents really understand how much the school has been placed in a judge and jury situation for things that occur outside of school, because we still have parents that will say, you cannot do that, this did not happen in school. Yes, but it affects the security, the safety, and the opportunities of this young person in our building, and because of that, we do have to do, we're actually expected to do some things for behaviors that happen outside of school. And so, this is a growing issue for us.
Jim, you talk about stalking. I just read a South Dakota Supreme Court opinion today. You can read it. It was just issued. It's out of Rapid City. It's a 51-year-old man, a 36-year-old woman. She's a nurse. This is public record. She's a professional. She made numerous allegations against her husband, which were unfounded. Stalking, rape, numerous, because they had 4 kids and they had a custody fight. And every one of them was unfounded. The South Dakota Supreme Court eventually ruled for the husband, but those things can happen with 36 and 51-year-old adults who have college educations. They can happen with 17 and 14-year-old kids. I want to be clear, I've also seen cases of stalking which 100% that protection order is right. But it can go both ways, and if you're on the wrong side of a false allegation, that's not a good spot to be in. And
this does try to address that as well, but I don't know.
But it's hard.
Strong,
yeah. That's why they have judges that are making those decisions, and they're difficult decisions. I just did a protection order hearing in Aberdeen that went, I think, last. What, Larry? You okay, Larry?
Yeah.
Yep. But it was 4 hours, a protection order hearing. So I guess I'd just be very careful before we adopted this. I don't even know if does this have to be a first reading, Jim?
We can do multiple readings if we need to.
I don't know what you guys think.
Well, so you drafted this, correct?
Yes, it's a mainly Aberdeen and NESC's policies. There were some things that Jerry and Tim from the NESC took out, but I'm like, I think I just like the more legal type wording.
I mean, have you ran it by Rodney?
No.
I mean, wouldn't that be the first step, to have our attorney review it? Even before it comes to our level?
Yeah, I think, and I even wonder if we wouldn't want to try to find, I don't know, I mean, how many other, because we can look at Aberdeen's, but how many of those school boards have actually sat down and read it or had somebody go through it and use it? You just don't want to have this policy in place and then all of a sudden go, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
We wish we would have done this right, and to protect both the victim and, the accused. We're trying to protect both individuals. You want to give them all the rights they have. That's what makes our country good. I guess, yeah, Rodney might be a good start, at least, but I don't think I'd be the guy.
No, and maybe Rodney would say, you need to talk to this.
If we got a couple of months, if we could do that, Jim?
Yep, I can contact Rodney, and he may have already some information put in place, or he may have dealt with other districts.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate all the work you've put into what's put together. That's a really good stuff, but,
And it's a starting point. I'll be honest, of all the policies that we've been updating, this is one I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah.
This is a serious one. We have to make sure we have things in place. And the more I learned about it as to who can be which roles, I'm thinking, I don't even have a clue how we're gonna make that happen in a school our size. When you talk about the investigator not being the person who can rule appeals.
I mean, we could have like our Buildings and Grounds Committee could be the.
Who's our Buildings and Grounds? Larry?
Larry.
Larry? You're not present at the meeting, you know, usually that means you get nominated for something.
Yeah, the players, just like this one here, a Title IX coordinator, investigator may be the same person. Title IX coordinator or investigator cannot be the decision maker, the mediator, or the appellate decision maker. And the decision maker, mediator, and or the appellate decision maker cannot be the same person. So that's all confusing to me when I start looking at roles.
Mm-hmm.
And typically it's he's first line, I'm second line, or I'm first line, he's second line, and you guys are third. That's usually what we do for our process of the levels of grievance.
You know, one thing I have to look at, I mean, our school district's been here for how many years? And we've made it, you know, I'm sure there's been some ups and downs, or some things we could have done differently, we'd like to have done differently, but still, we've been here for over 100 years. And definitely here in modern times, you've been able to take care of, you know, the problems, or the juvenile justice system has been able to take care of the problems. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Maybe we don't have to necessarily rush in and create another avenue that maybe we don't necessarily need as much yet. But we'll keep moving on that. Any more on the COVID? I think we beat that horse, right, Jim? Mm-hmm. All right. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Next meeting is
December 14th.
December 14th. 10 more shopping days.